This video is about a post-Imperial heavy-style Mandalorian chestplate. I added some modifications to make it unique and not exactly the same that you see in the Disney Plus show. This version of my chestplate, I had added some higher-rised sides to cover my vest, and then I added some strengthening plates later on the inside to make sure that it didn't bend or snap. The Sintra chestplate is actually pretty lightweight, yet also very sturdy. I was able to get some nice hard edges for the curves from the flat plate to the curve to around the rib cage. Overall, I think this is a fun project. If I were to do this next time, I've got more skills because of this project. So to start out, I had traced a template off of screen references and then modified them a bit, and then I cut out pieces of foam in the shape of the template because I wanted to make sure it matched my body first before I used the Sintra or the PVC sheet plastic to make my armor. When you download the sheet, you can modify it yourself as well as use foam or cardboard or other forms of material to try and make it fit your person. After I got my size correct, I traced it onto some PVC sheets and started cutting it out with my box cutter knife. I was only doing a little bit of a rough cut on this because I'm going to be taking it to a bandsaw to get a sharper and more accurate cut on this piece. You can also not use a bandsaw and just use your box cutter, but in doing so, it just takes longer. It's completely fine. Like you can see, I popped this straight out of the sheet after I cut it with my knife. It'll just take a little bit longer. Here's me cutting out the main shape of the chest plate out of the Sintra on my bandsaw. I'll just let this show you how slow I go while I'm cutting this. I'm following that line almost just on the outside of it, so I'm not losing the size. I did the same thing all around on all edges of this piece of plastic. And as always, while working on stuff like this, wear things like a dust mask or a respirator. I was also wearing a safety face shield while cutting all my pieces out while using power tools. You can see there's a little bit of rough edges after the cuts, so I took some tools that was a file as well as a piece of sandpaper block to get the rough edges off of my piece of armor. You can use things like sanding sponge. It was a little bit harder with the sanding sponge because it's a little bit softer, and getting the burrs off or the rough edges off with that took a little bit more time, but using a file or a sanding block would be best. Now it was time to get the curves on my chest piece following my foam template. So using my my respirator, as well, you could use some form of gas mask or something to protect you from the fumes of the plastic. I also made this piece of wood with a slot into it to heat up a specific edge to get a harsher curve without heating up the rest of the plastic. Using the heat gun, I just went right over it to get that one spot superheated, and then using the angle getting a even softer part in there. You can see it just gently curves down right on that corner. Later we'll be sanding that edge right there to give us a hard angle edge that goes into the soft curve. Repeated the action on the other side of the chest plate. Trying to make sure both sides are as even as can be. Up at the top, the tabs, I heated them up in a similar fashion with a heat gun overall, as well as using my wooden slot piece. These are cutouts that I made for the higher raised side plate sides to the chest piece. You can see on that left side, I PVC glued them together so that it can hide attachments as well as give me a little bit more depth to make it, you know, look like a larger chest plate. And I'm going to do the same on this side where I'm going to glue it and make everything as symmetrical as possible. This is a regular PVC contact cement or PVC welding glue. You use the purple stuff, which is the primer, and then the clear stuff, which is the glue part. I also held everything down with tape because trying to use clamps on these sort of hard edges is very hard. You can hold it together for like almost like 30 seconds to a minute and it'll generally hold. But yeah, here this is the cutout of the chest diamond and the trim. I was heating up the tabs up top because I needed to curve it just a little bit more. Specifically on the inner collarbone part. Here I'm using an angle grinder, or not angle grinder, an angle sander to start the harsh edge, and then went to my belt sander and used my Dremel for more beveling. Here I took those previous chest diamond pieces and then PVC glued them to the chest. I also used the tape on this piece as well to make sure everything was held in place. Now, after everything was done, I was left with what you saw at the beginning of the video. This was very fun for me. It was actually one of the first times I started working with the Sintra PVC plastic. This whole Mandalorian kit that I've been making was the first time I've ever started using this material, and I think it's a very fun and versatile material. And if you've ever used EVA foam for your costumes, the Sintra plastic works very well. And if you've got templates for foam, it transfers easily over to the Sintra PVC plastic. You can also use the templates for cardboard. Thank you so much for watching. If you could, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a whole lot. And I'll see you all in the next one. Later.